What is going on, guys? It's Brendan Dzwierzynski here with you from right outside of Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, the site of today's Kansas Jayhawks win over the Creighton Blue Jays, 79-72. It was a tough one from the very beginning until the very end for KU, but the Jayhawks were able to pull it out, and for the first time since 2018, Bill Self's boys are back in the Sweet 16. And the story of this game, really twofold. Number one, for KU, the story of the game, because he was the player of the game, is Remy Martin. His unbelievable hot stretch that started at the beginning of the Big 12 tournament, ran all the way through that event, now is run through the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. Well, it continued in this game here on Saturday. He had a game-high 20 points for the Jayhawks. First half, he was especially good, 16 points at the break on 6 of 9 shooting, and that was especially important for KU early because while he was 6 of 9 in the first half, the rest of the team, the entire rest of the roster, was just 8 out of 25. It was another tough shooting day for Ochai Agbaji. Christian Brown never truly got going in the game. Jalen Wilson did end with a double-double in this one, had a really nice game on the boards and scored a bit too, but it was Remy Martin providing that spark off the bench, playing 29 minutes to get those 20 points. That was absolutely the difference maker in this one for the Jayhawks. And without him, it's crazy to think where this KU team might have been, because the other biggest headline of the day was Creighton going absolutely ballistic from three-point range. Creighton came into this game shooting under 31% for the season, 30.7% on three-pointers. Then they came out and were just unbelievable, white hot from three-point range to open up the contest. Creighton started the game 7 out of 10 from three-point range, went into halftime 8 out of 15 from three-point range. Now, they did cool off in the second half. The Blue Jays did go just 4 out of 13 from deep in the second half, but they still knocked down a couple of big ones late in the game to keep it at least relatively close. And even when the Jayhawks would start to stretch the lead out, Creighton gave them their best shot. And you have to give all the credit in the world to Greg McDermott and the Blue Jays in this one. And Bill Self did just moments ago during his post-game press conference saying, hey, look, they shot the ball incredibly well. I mentioned Ryan Hawkins, the former Northwest Missouri State Bearcat, who had a huge day in this one for the Blue Jays, and a couple other performers who were just outstanding shooting the ball. Arthur Kaluma was the big one. Came into the season making 25% of his three-pointers and then knocked down a season-high number of them. I mean, it was just a perfect hot shooting day for Creighton, but that's also where you have to give Kansas some credit here too, because unlike in the first game of the NCAA tournament, which was a very easy win over Texas Southern, just cruising past the 16-seeded Tigers, you got everybody involved in that game, so it was really a group effort with nobody really truly breaking out. But in a game like this, when you have your best player really not do a whole lot, Ochai Agbaji did end with 15 points in the game, but he made 5 field goals in the contest, all of which came in the second half, made under a third of his shots from the floor. So really, while he's out there struggling, you had to get other guys who stepped up. Obviously, we mentioned Remy Martin, who was just fantastic in this contest. Mentioned Jalen Wilson as well, but you got some key minutes off the bench from guys like Jalen Coleman-Lands, who didn't play a ton in the game, did knock down a wide open three-pointer midway through the second half, also played some nice defensive possessions before picking up a little bit of foul trouble. But you needed other guys to step up in this game, while Agbaji has really continued over the last couple of weeks now to not be shooting the ball especially well. He didn't get back in the groove today, but the Jayhawks were still able to come away with the victory. So with that, KU is now on to Chicago next week. Yes, my home city. They will head to the United Center, where they will play in the Sweet 16 and just maybe in the Elite 8 as well. They are awaiting the winner of the Providence versus Richmond game that is actually going on right now in the second round of the NCAA tournament. They will take on the winner of that one coming up on Friday next week. And one other thing that we probably should note before we wrap things up here, not only does this get KU back to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2018 and the Devontae Graham-led Final Four run for Bill Self's Jayhawks, but it also ties KU with Kentucky for the most wins in college basketball history for a single program. A lot of work to do, and earlier this week, Bill Self said, hey, that doesn't really register with me. That significance to the program really doesn't resonate with me right now. If we continue to just extend our record and maybe take over first place, that's a good thing, because that means we're getting even deeper into the tournament, but it is still a cool thing, and I know fans will glom onto that one for sure. that KU is now tied with Kentucky for the most wins for a single college basketball program in the history of the sport. We appreciate you joining along with all of our coverage, all of my coverage here from Fort Worth over the course of the week. Make sure you're following on social media as we have coverage throughout the upcoming week, previewing the Sweet 16 and potentially Elite 8, and coverage live from the United Center in Chicago coming up next week as well. You can follow 580 Sports Talk on Twitter for all of our game updates, video stories, and you can also follow my personal account at BrendanDZW on Twitter. One more time from Fort Worth, the Kansas Jayhawks are headed back to the Sweet 16 after knocking off the Creighton Blue Jays 79-72 in the second round of the NCAA tournament on Saturday. From Dickies Arena and for 580 Sports Talk, I'm Brendan Dzwierzynski.